So in a recent interview regarding episode 8, Daisy Ridley was asked about the Kenobi theory in regards to Rey. Is Rey related to Ben Kenobi? Is she related to, Jyn Erso? And she said this: "We will see in a year. Just sit tight on that question." So this has sparked a lot of hype and a lot of, kind of rumors that we will actually see the confirmation of Rey's kind of heritage, her family, her parents in episode 8. That's going to happen in episode 8. So because of this, I have pretty much just noted down and listed all of the possible options, all of the possible choices we have for Rey's kind of background, her family, her parents, all the plausible ones at least. I have all of them written down here, and today I'm going to go through them each one and talk about the possibility of each theory and give my opinion on what the most likely theory is, and you guys should do the same. In just over a year's time, we could find out that any of these people could be Rey's grandfather, father, mother, and they could be amazing. We could find out in a year. Let's go through all these theories. So starting out with number 1, we have got Jyn Erso, played by Felicity Jones, the main protagonist in Rogue One. The thing about this is it makes sense. Like it's not really an in-depth theory, but it does make sense in terms of the fact that they both have dark hair, both are British. Jyn Erso works for she's gonna work for the rebellion, so that kind of connection is there. Resistance, rebellion. It could kind of show how Rey could be known by the Resistance, by Leia, by Han Solo, because Jyn Erso, I'm guessing by the time episode 7 or episode 8 comes around, Jyn Erso is probably remembered by a lot of people in the Resistance. That could work, I guess, but in my opinion, it's probably the least likely one. Alright, so next we've got Han Solo. Rey and Han Solo are both skilled pilots, so they kind of both have the ability to fly a lot of different ships. Rey, for example, instantly knows how to pilot the Millennium Falcon as if she's been in there before, kind of suggesting that, at one point, maybe as a child, she would have been in the Millennium Falcon with Han Solo. She instantly knows how to do all the stuff in the Falcon. That's really interesting. What else have we got here? Han Solo tries to recruit Rey. This is a kind of a crucial part in the movie. Han Solo tries to recruit Rey into joining his kind of team on the Falcon, for pretty much no reason. He would not do this for anyone else, but he sees Rey, and he instantly, I guess, kind of tries to get her to join him and Chewie, like take her under his wing, I guess. And why else would he do that? Why would he do that if it's just some random girl he didn't know? Could it be that she's actually his, daughter, and he's trying to keep her safe? You never know. It would explain the connection to Kylo Ren as brother and sister. So, there's a lot of theories about Kylo Ren and Rey. One of them is that there's kind of like a romantic type thing there, but one of them is that there's a connection that is kind of siblings. And I don't know which one I personally see, but it could definitely work as siblings. Kylo Ren and Rey could be brother and sister. It would explain kind of like, I guess, their kind of connection, because they certainly do have chemistry and a connection that kind of suggests they do know each other. There's something that we don't know about them. That would explain that. And overall, it would just kind of tie things in nicely. I think personally it's not going to be Han Solo, but there are definitely a lot of reasons as to why it could be Han Solo. Next one, which is personally my belief as to who Rey's father actually is, Luke Skywalker. Right, so Rey is force sensitive, and that's obviously kind of a hint. She's force sensitive, and so is her father. Again, I mean, when you actually kind of look at it, Star Wars as a whole, it's pretty much just about like a new kind of protagonist. And A New Hope was like Luke Skywalker, and he became a Jedi. He discovered the Force and stuff like that. Rey is following the exact same path that Luke did. Both were kind of stranded on a desert planet. Both discovered the Force. Both are going to Luke progressed like a Jedi Master, and I believe that Rey will as well under Luke's teaching. But I just think it's a really, really similar path, and Rey just completely seems like Luke's daughter because they both possess the Force, and I can't see her kind of father or whatever not being Luke Skywalker just for that reason alone. But we've got more reasons. Okay, so the Skywalker theme song plays when Rey catches Luke's lightsaber. So I think when you actually rewind the movie and you go to that certain bit in the forest where Rey kind of uses the Force to like pull the lightsaber to her hand, I think at that very point Luke Skywalker's theme song plays, the classic Star Wars theme song, and that to me suggests that she is a Skywalker because it played for Anakin Skywalker. I believe it played for Luke Skywalker, and now it's playing for Rey Skywalker. It just makes perfect sense, and I personally believe that this is what's going to happen. Everyone has seen it coming, but maybe for that reason alone, it's not going to be that. I mean, when you really think about it, it's what the predictable thing is. Luke Skywalker being Rey's father is what is the predictable thing. Star Wars being Star Wars, they might just think we're not going to go down this path because everyone's going to see it coming. And I personally hope that it's going to be no one we predicted. That will be interesting, especially I want it to be Luke, but I've just saw it coming, the same way I saw Han Solo's death coming. So I don't really want to be not surprised by that. But I think it's still Luke. Okay. Next is Palpatine. Palpatine has like the same accent as Rey, so it doesn't really matter, but it's still something to note down. They have a similar accent, a British accent. That's quite cool. Her lightsaber fighting style is also similar to Palpatine's. If you look back in The Force Awakens, you'll see that Rey kind of takes a forward kind of stabbing motion with her lightsaber at Kylo Ren. It's the same move that Palpatine uses in Revenge of the Sith against either Mace Windu or one of the Jedi Masters. It's the same kind of fighting style. It's the reason that Kylo Ren was protecting her. This is obviously not a fact, but it could be the reason that Kylo Ren was like protecting Rey and he defended her in their dream sequence, because she is a Palpatine and she is very important due to the fact that obviously Palpatine was the Emperor, and I'm guessing Kylo Ren respects Palpatine for what he did. Kind of thing. So maybe Kylo Ren was protecting Rey for that reason. How else would you really explain why Kylo Ren was protecting Rey? That could be, a plausible reason. Alright, next we have got Kenobi. She could be Obi-Wan's granddaughter. This is a really popular theory, and I think it's pretty believable as well. Alright, so first we have got this. They have got a similar kind of costume, outfit, clothing. Rey and Obi-Wan kind of have this same kind of coloured robe type thing. Obi-Wan's robes are really similar to Rey's, which, it doesn't really mean that much in the grand scale of things. It's literally just clothing. I'm guessing Rey just had that because it was desert clothing kind of thing. So yeah, that's not really a big deal, but it's still something to note down. They have the same accent. I know that's the same as Palpatine, but it's it doesn't really matter. But it's still something to note down. They have a similar accent, which could possess, I guess, kind of like a relation right there, like a similarity. This next point I think is very, very good, and it is the Jedi mind trick. So in The Force Awakens, Rey uses the Jedi mind trick on a stormtrooper to release her kind of shackles and stuff like that, and to escape. And as you know, obviously Ben Kenobi did this in A New Hope, and he's kind of famous for that. These aren't the droids you're looking for. She did the exact same thing on a stormtrooper, which kind of suggests to us that she maybe inherits this because she's Obi-Wan's relative. That could work right there. Rey was kind of creeping around Starkiller Base just like Obi-Wan was in the Death Star. That's kind of a similarity right there. It would explain why Ben Kenobi was in Rey's dream sequence. This is actually a perfect point. In Rey's dream sequence, you can hear Obi-Wan say, "Rey, these are your first steps." And like that could explain why he was in her vision, because what relation does Rey have to Obi-Wan Kenobi apart from their potential relation? None. Why would he be in her vision? It's just, I don't know. But her being his granddaughter could explain that, and I think this theory is very, very good. Alright, so the final one is that Rey is the living force, which essentially makes her Anakin Skywalker reincarnated. She is the chosen one. She is the new chosen one. There has been hundreds of chosen ones before. One of them is Anakin Skywalker, which essentially makes her Anakin Skywalker, and also basically makes her Luke's kind of father, which is really weird. And that's one of the reasons why people hate this theory, because it's a bit Matrix, it's a bit Avatar, and the fact that she would kind of be Luke's, I guess, father will just kind of be silly, and I kind of agree with that. But it's one way to kind of surprise people, rather than Rey having like a family or a father, she could just be something that's very spiritual and something that people won't really predict. So that could work, I guess. But me personally, I would not be a fan of that theory if that theory came true, and I just think it would be a bit of a cop out. Oh, she's the chosen one. She's like a kind of spirit. I just don't like it. I would just prefer to just have a legitimate backstory with a character we've already seen that we wouldn't see coming, but I guess that's a bit of a long shot. It's probably going to be someone we've already predicted. Alright guys, they were all the characters I could see becoming Rey's father or mother or family. I think all of them pretty much work in their own way. Some are better than others, but they all kind of have their own kind of spotlight, I think. They all could work in their own way, and nevertheless, I think it's all so interesting that people actually are speculating and theorizing to the extent that we have. I just think it's great. So me personally, I would rather see Luke Skywalker out of all these options become Luke's actual father. It would make perfect sense, and also it would progress the story further. You might disagree with me, so let me know in the comment section down below. Would you like it to be Jin, Han Solo, Obi-Wan, Luke Skywalker, Palpatine, or the Chosen One? Let me know in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed, then please be sure to drop a like on this video. That extremely helps me out. Get this video out there and show your friends all the possibilities for Rey's family by sharing this video. Subscribe to me for more regular Star Wars videos, and I'll see you guys soon. Thanks for watching.